I, 32M. William, guess I'm still trying to wrap my head around how quickly things can detonate. About a month ago, life was normal, or what I thought was normal. My girlfriend of 3 years, Sandra, 30F, and I were planning a weekend camping trip. We were that couple, comfortable, a little boring maybe, but steady. Or so I believed. The weirdness started subtly. Sandra was spending a lot more time on group chats and video calls with her friends, especially her best friend, Ashley, 29F. Whenever I'd walk into the room, conversations would stop or she'd angle her phone away. I didn't think much of it initially, privacy, right? But then Ashley started acting a little off around me. More reserved, almost sad. Fast forward to about 10 days ago. Ashley asked to meet me for coffee, alone. Alarm bells. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Ashley, William, there's something you need to know. And I'm so sorry. I've been recording some of Sandra's and our group conversations. Not for anything weird. It's just, Sandra has been saying a lot of things about you. For months. And it got really bad. I didn't know what else to do. My stomach just dropped. She played me a few snippets. It wasn't just idle gossip. It was Sandra laughing with her friends, picking apart everything about me. My job, he's smart, but like zero ambition, content with his little spreadsheets. My hobbies, he actually enjoys bird watching, can you imagine? Even deeply personal stuff I'd shared with her in confidence about my family. She mimicked my laugh. She dissected texts I'd sent her. The worst was her talking about our future, or lack thereof. Oh, William's a great placeholder. Comfortable. But I'm keeping my options open, obviously. He's just too predictable for the long haul. This was intercut with her friends chiming in, some laughing, some adding their own digs. Ashley was mostly silent in the part she played for me. I felt cold, like the world tilted. Why are you showing me this? Ashley. Ashley. Because it's wrong, William. She talks crap about everyone, even us, her best friends, behind our backs, but this felt cruel. And honestly, she's been trying to convince me you're a bad guy, that you've been off lately, and I think she was prepping to dump you and make you the villain. That night, I confronted Sandra. Calmly. I didn't yell. Me? Sandra, have you been unhappy? Have you been talking about me, about us, to your friends? Sandra stares at me, then gets defensive. What if I have? Girl talk. We vent. It's not a big deal. I can talk about whoever I want with my friends. It's my life. Me. Even if it's disrespectful. Even if it's things I told you in confidence. Sandra rolls her eyes. Oh, don't be so sensitive, William. It's just words. Everyone does it. Her complete lack of remorse, the sheer entitlement in that statement. I can talk about whoever I want was the nail in the coffin. Me. You absolutely can. And I can decide I don't want to be with someone who does. We're done, Sandra. She was shocked. Actually shocked. Expected me to just take it, I guess. She argued, then cried, then got angry, but I held firm. Packed a bag and went to my brother's. The next few days were a blur. Ashley checked in on me, platonically. We talked a lot. About Sandra, yeah, but also about everything else. I realized Ashley was smart, funny, and incredibly insightful. And she'd been walking on eggshells around Sandra for years. A week after the breakup, Ashley and I went for dinner. As friends. But it didn't feel like just friends. There was a spark. We ended up talking for hours. Kissed. It felt right. Unexpected, but right. 2 days after that, my phone exploded. Sandra. Sandra. Voicemail. Screaming, William. You are dating Ashley. My best friend. Are you serious? After everything. You dump me, and then you go for her. What kind of betrayal? I asked this. Texts, calls, more voicemails. All variations on that theme. Her betrayal. Because apparently, her months-long campaign of systematically trashing me to her inner circle, including the woman I was now seeing, was just girl talk. But me moving on after she blew up our relationship? Unforgivable. The irony is almost physically painful. I haven't even told her I know about the recordings. Yet, Ashley and I agreed to keep that between us for now. Let Sandra show her true colors. And boy, is she. Now I'm just waiting for the next barrage. This is far from over. Update 1 week later. Well, the predicted barrage arrived, and it brought reinforcements. It's been a wild week since Sandra found out about Ashley and me. The sheer level of entitlement is genuinely breathtaking. Sandra's initial voicemails and texts were just pure rage, as mentioned. Accusations of betrayal, how I never really loved her, how Ashley is a snake and a backstabber. Standard stuff when someone who thinks they're the main character gets their script flipped. Then came the public but not public smear campaign. Vague Insta stories from Sandra. When you realize people you trusted were never really on your side, broken heart, hashtag fake friends, hashtag hidden agendas. Lots of sad selfies. You know the type. A few of our mutual acquaintances started sending me confused texts. Dude, what happened with Sandra? She seems devastated. I kept my replies brief and neutral. We broke up. It wasn't working out. I've moved on. No drama from my end. The real escalation came via Sandra's younger sister, Kimberly, 28F. Kimberly was always intense. Very much a my sister right or wrong type. She called me, and it wasn't a pleasant chat. Kimberly, William, what the hell do you think you're doing to Sandra? And with Ashley of all people? Are you trying to destroy her? Me? Kimberly, Sandra and I broke up. The reasons are between her and me. I'm sorry she's upset, but I'm allowed to move on. Kimberly, upset? She's a wreck. Ashley was her best friend. This is beyond messed up. You clearly planned this. You were probably cheating on Sandra with Ashley. Me, raises an eyebrow, even though she can't see it. That's a serious accusation, Kimberly, and it's completely false. Sandra ended our relationship with her actions long before I ended it with words. Maybe you should ask Sandra about her behavior. Kimberly, Sandra is an angel. She wouldn't hurt a fly. You're the manipulative one here, clearly. You better fix this. You owe her an apology. And Ashley needs to disappear. The fix this part really got me. Like I'm supposed to what? Dump Ashley and go crawling back to Sandra after she spent months metaphorically spitting on me? The delusion is strong with this family. Sandra also started relentlessly messaging Ashley. A delightful mix. Asterisk the tearful bestie. Ashley, how could you do this to us? I thought we were sisters. He's just using you to hurt me. Please tell me it's not true. Asterisk the scorned victim. You always wanted what I had, didn't you? You were just waiting for your chance to stab me in the back. Some friend. Asterisk the threatening fury. You'll regret this, Ashley. You have no idea what you've done. Everyone will see you for what you are. Ashley's been a rock. Shaken, but a rock. She blocked Sandra on most platforms after a particularly nasty voicemail. She told me, I knew she'd react badly, but this is a lot. It's like she can't comprehend that her actions have consequences. Or that I'm a person with my own feelings, not just her sounding board. Internally, I'm mostly just tired, but also weirdly calm. Every outburst from Sandra or Kimberly just reconfirms I made the right decision. The hurt from the initial discovery is still there, a dull ache, but it's being overshadowed by this bizarre drama. Ashley and I talked about the recordings again. We're still holding on to them. It feels like a nuclear option, but Sandra and Kimberly are escalating. They're trying to paint me as the bad guy and Ashley as a homewrecker to anyone who will listen. A few of Sandra's closer friends have definitely iced Ashley out. Sandra's version of events is clearly making the rounds. William, the heartless cad, dumped poor, devoted Sandra, and immediately shacked up with her treacherous best friend. The most recent development? Sandra left a care package on Ashley's doorstep. It was a box of Ashley's old stuff Sandra still had, plus a single, dead rose and a printout of one of those toxic friendship memes. Classy. We're just waiting to see what their next brilliant move is. I have a feeling it's going to get pettier. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Okay, pettier was an understatement. We've officially entered the Dirty Tricks Handbook phase, starring Sandra and enthusiastically co-produced by Kimberly. The entitlement is off the charts, and their attempts to control the narrative are almost impressive in their brazenness. First, the workplace weirdness. I work for a mid-sized tech company. Last Tuesday, my manager, Daniel, calls me into his office. Looks uncomfortable. Daniel, William got a strange email. An anonymous tip. Said you've been distracted and aggressive lately, and implied you were having inappropriate online communications during work hours. Any idea what this is about? My blood ran cold for a second. This had Sandra and Kimberly's fingerprints all over it. Me, Daniel, I can assure you that's baseless. My ex-girlfriend and I recently had a very messy breakup. She's not taking it well. I suspect this is her trying to cause trouble. My work performance hasn't been affected, and all my communications have been professional. Thankfully, Daniel knows my work ethic. He said the email was vague, no specifics, and it smelled like BS. They do a cursory check of company policy reminders, but unless something concrete emerged, he wasn't concerned. Still, it was a clear shot across the bow. Trying to mess with my livelihood? Low blow, even for them. Then came the concerned friend offensive. A couple of people from our wider social circle reached out to Ashley. People who weren't super close, but knew us as a group. One of them, a guy named Anthony, messaged Ashley. "Hey Ashley, heard about you and William. Just wanted to say, be careful. Sandra is saying William was really controlling and emotionally manipulative towards the end. She's worried about you." This was their new angle. William the monster, Ashley the next victim. Sandra playing the role of the concerned ex, trying to warn Ashley. The audacity. Ashley and I had a long talk. We were tired of being on the defensive. I told her I couldn't stand by while they tried to ruin my career and our reputations. This wasn't just girl talk anymore. It was malicious. We decided, together, that the only way to stop them was to let Sandra's own words do the talking. Ashley had the recordings, and after what they pulled, she was ready to use them. We spent an evening carefully selecting a few key audio clips, the most undeniable examples of Sandra's duplicity and Kimberly's enabling malice. We didn't want a public social media war. That's messy and can backfire. Our approach was more targeted, surgical. I took the lead on some of this, with Ashley's full agreement and the file she provided. Asterisk the Emily's Bakery clip. Ashley sent this directly to Emily, with a simple message. "Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to tell you this, but I thought you deserved to know what was being said." This was a few weeks ago. I'm no longer friends with Sandra. This felt right for Ashley to do, given her prior friendship with Emily. Asterisk the safety net / upgrade clip about me, and the clip of Sandra and Kimberly together, laughing as Kimberly suggested ways Sandra could make William's life difficult if he ever crossed her, including vague ideas about anonymous complaints. I sent these from a throwaway email address with no commentary other than "thought you should hear this" to about 5 or 6 key people in our old extended social circle. People whose opinions carried weight, people Sandra and Kimberly were actively trying to poison against us. And yes, I included Anthony, the concerned friend who'd messaged Ashley. The fallout wasn't just immediate, it was a firestorm. Emily, as we suspected, was devastated and furious. She didn't keep quiet. She posted publicly on her bakery's social media about being betrayed by toxic ex-friends and the importance of supporting local businesses. While she didn't name names publicly in her post, enough people knew about Sandra's circle that the dots were connected very quickly. We heard Sandra even try to comment on the post with a fake sympathetic message, which Emily promptly deleted and blocked her. Anthony replied to my anonymous email almost instantly with a direct message to my actual account. Holy crap. "William, Ashley, I am so sorry. I had no idea. Sandra completely twisted everything. Just forwarded your email, blind copied you, to a few others she's been feeding lines to. You guys don't deserve this." He became an unexpected ally in correcting the narrative. Within 48 hours, it felt like everyone in our old circle had heard about the clips. Sandra's carefully crafted victim narrative imploded spectacularly. People weren't just asking them awkward questions. They were openly calling them out. We heard through multiple sources about a disastrous group chat that Sandra and Kimberly were in. Apparently, several old friends confronted them directly with lines from the recordings. Sandra reportedly doubled down, accused everyone of ganging up on her, claimed Ashley was a psycho stalker who manufactured those recordings, and then Kimberly jumped in, firing off insults and threats. The result? Many people exited that chat and blocked them both on the spot. Several planned social events they were meant to attend were suddenly postponed, or they found themselves quietly uninvited. The speed of their social isolation was brutal. Sandra and Kimberly's response to this widespread shunning? Predictably, they went into full meltdown mode. Sandra's tearful video on her private story became even more unhinged. She was now accusing not just Ashley of masterminding her downfall with doctored tapes, but also accusing me of orchestrating a vindictive hate campaign. She even named names of people who had supposedly betrayed her by believing the recordings, which only alienated more people. Kimberly started sending aggressive, misspelled DMs to anyone she thought was siding with the enemy or who had criticized Sandra, basically proving the enabling malice part of the recordings herself. It was a spectacular series of own goals. They weren't just facing questions, they were facing outright social exile created by their own hands, accelerated by their increasingly frantic and aggressive reactions. The entitlement is still there, but it's now laced with pure panic. They genuinely believed they could control everything and everyone. They didn't count on clear, undeniable proof of their own behavior, turning their world upside down so quickly. It's a dumpster fire, all right, and they're holding the matches and the gasoline. Final update, 6 months later. It's been about 7 months since D-Day, Discovery Day, as Ashley and I now call it. Life has settled into a new, much quieter, and genuinely happier normal. The drama with Sandra and Kimberly fizzled out, not with a bang, but more like a leaky tire gradually deflating after being spectacularly punctured. The selectively edited recordings and hate campaign defenses Sandra and Kimberly tried to push after the clips circulated an update too didn't get any traction. When you're claiming victimhood, but there's audio of you casually ripping apart your then boyfriend, mocking someone's livelihood, or plotting anonymous complaints, people tend to believe their own ears. A few of Sandra's diehard apologists stuck by her, but most of their mutual friend group quietly, or in some cases, very loudly, distanced themselves. The social fallout for Sandra was pretty significant and, from what we've heard, lasting. She always thrived on being the queen bee, the center of attention. That image shattered and shattered hard. Emily, the friend whose bakery Sandra mocked, saw a huge surge in local support after word got out properly. Turns out, people don't like bullies. Her business is doing great. She sent Ashley and me a thank you note and a massive box of cupcakes, which was a sweet, literally moment of solidarity. Sandra apparently tried to get legal for a hot minute, even after her initial narrative imploded. Ashley received a cease and desist letter from some online template lawyer, full of dramatic language about defamation and illegal recordings. Laws vary, but where we are, one-party consent for recording conversations you are part of is generally permissible, and Ashley was part of all those conversations. Ashley's cousin, who's a paralegal, glanced at it and said it was mostly bluster designed to scare her. Ashley, with my full support, sent a polite reply via email, stating the recordings were legally obtained, were shared selectively and truthfully only in response to false accusations and attempts to damage our reputations, and that she would vigorously defend any actual legal action. We heard nothing further on that front. Predictably, the idea of actually spending real money on a lawyer when her credibility was shot probably wasn't appealing. Kimberly remains Sandra's loyal bulldog, but her credibility took a massive nosedive too, especially after the clip of them discussing anonymous complaints and her subsequent aggressive DMs made the rounds. People saw her as an instigator and an enabler, not just a supportive sister. We hear through the grapevine, which is surprisingly resilient, that they've become a rather isolated duo. Sandra apparently complains constantly about how Ashley ruined her life and how I betrayed her trust. Zero self-awareness, as expected. She really believed she was entitled to say whatever she wanted without consequence, and for me to just be her convenient boyfriend until a better offer came along. The revenge, if you want to call it that, was simply letting Sandra be fully exposed by her own actions and words. No grand schemes, no elaborate plots from my end beyond deciding that enough was enough and strategically using the truth. The satisfaction wasn't in her downfall, exactly, but in the restoration of truth and the fact that she couldn't manipulate or bully her way out of this one. Her carefully crafted social image, The one she used to belittle others, including me, crumbled because of her choices, and her reactions to being exposed only dug her hole deeper. That empty social standing she fought so hard to maintain through nasty gossip, gone. That, I admit, felt like justice. As for me and Ashley, we're doing great. Really great. We took things slow after the initial explosion of drama, building something real on a foundation of honesty and mutual respect. It's kind of ironic that Sandra's actions inadvertently pushed us together. We communicate openly, no guessing games, no fear of being mocked behind each other's backs. My apartment, which once felt tainted by Sandra's negativity, now feels like a peaceful sanctuary. We even went on that camping trip I was originally planning with Sandra, and it was fantastic. The whole experience was a harsh lesson in trusting your gut and understanding that some people will always see themselves as the main character, and you're just a supporting role in their drama. The best outcome was moving on, with someone who values partnership over put-downs. Sandra got the space she implicitly wanted by trashing our relationship. She just didn't like how vast and empty it turned out to be when her words echoed back at her, loud and clear for everyone to hear.